The secret of building the Ark of the Covenant. Imagine an artifact so powerful that, according to ancient accounts, it could bring down walls, part rivers, and even emit a light capable of blinding anyone who approached without permission. An object shrouded in mystery, protected for centuries, and described as the most dangerous sacred object ever created by humanity. Today, you will discover how the Ark of the Covenant was actually built, and the secret that may lie behind its workings. What you are about to hear does not appear in traditional textbooks, and the more you learn, the more you will realize that this story goes far beyond religion. Before we continue, please like and subscribe to the channel, because what comes next is so surprising that you'll want to follow every detail. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any episodes, because we're just getting started. And I promise, if you stay until the end, you'll understand why so many scholars believe that the Ark may have been one of the most advanced technologies of the ancient world. Don't blink. Every second counts in putting together this ancient puzzle. The enigma of the Ark. A machine? A sacred artifact? When we hear about the Ark of the Covenant, most people imagine only a religious object covered in gold. But upon careful analysis of ancient texts, something very different emerges. The descriptions mention precise measurements, specific materials, and physical consequences that seem to indicate a complex mechanism. Nothing is random. Every detail seems to have been placed there for a technological and symbolic reason. It's as if we were facing a hybrid artifact, part divine, part scientific. The first mystery arises in the construction instructions given to Moses. A structure of acacia wood completely covered in pure gold, inside and out. This creates something curious, an isolated compartment capable of storing energy. For some experts, this resembles a primitive electrical capacitor. For others, it is merely symbolism. But the question remains, why so much gold? Why the double coating? None of this was cheap or simple to do at that time. There are also reports that no one could touch the Ark directly, under penalty of immediate death. This raises questions. Was it a spiritual warning or a real physical phenomenon? Vibration, static electricity, chemical reaction? The descriptions are so specific that they are difficult to ignore. Some texts describe a fire coming from the inside, others speak of a noise that accompanied its movements. These clues build a narrative far more complex than a ritualistic object. Another intriguing point: only trained priests could approach the Ark, and even then only using special rods. This reinforces the idea that there was a procedure for handling the object, as if it were dangerous if handled incorrectly. This behavior is common in devices that store energy. The Bible describes this as the power of God, but we can also see it as advanced technology misunderstood by the people of that time. After all, everything we don't understand seems magical, and we cannot ignore the narratives of extraordinary effects. The Ark was capable of defeating armies, making thunderous sounds, emitting lights, and even affecting the weather. Coincidence? Exaggeration? Or some kind of real physical phenomenon? These details appear repeatedly in different ancient texts. The pattern is clear. There was something there that completely surpassed the understanding of ordinary people. And the more we analyze, the more it seems that the Ark was more than symbolic. It was functional. In this first section, we leave an essential question hanging in the air. If the Ark truly possessed extraordinary physical properties, where did this power come from? Was it built solely with spiritual instructions, or was technological knowledge involved? In the following sections, we will dismantle this mystery piece by piece. Stay tuned. The secret begins to be revealed now, and the upcoming discoveries will challenge everything you've ever heard about the Ark of the Covenant. Acacia wood, chosen for its symbolism or its physics. The first indication that the Ark was no ordinary construction lies in the material chosen, acacia wood. But why this specific type? Acacia wasn't the most beautiful wood, nor the easiest to work with. However, it is one of the most resistant in the Middle East, almost immune to fungi, time, and decay. It's as if someone knew that the object would need to last for centuries, perhaps millennia, without losing its integrity. An extremely strategic choice. Furthermore, acacia wood possesses natural dielectric properties, meaning it functions as an efficient electrical insulator. This is extremely curious when we remember that the ark was coated with pure gold inside and out, insulating wood plus conductive metal. Typical energy storage structure. It's as if a container capable of generating and storing charges was being assembled. The inevitable question arises: how did ancient peoples know this? Intuition, revelation, or some lost knowledge? Another fascinating detail is that acacia wood doesn't crack easily and withstands intense pressure, making it ideal for containers that could experience vibrations or thermal changes. Many researchers believe that the ark could emit heat or radiation, and the acacia wood would have a protective function to prevent the exterior from overheating. Again, everything seems too technical to be a random choice. It's as if someone planned everything with millimeter precision. And the more we delve into this material, the more enigmatic insights emerge. In various cultures, acacia was considered a divine wood used in temples, rituals, and sacred objects. This raises a powerful hypothesis. What if the choice was twofold, spiritual and functional? A wood revered by the culture, but at the same time perfect for a technological structure. The ancients may have understood its value far beyond the mystical. Another important fact: acacia wood is extremely difficult to destroy with ordinary fire. This would explain why so many accounts claim that the ark seemed indestructible. Even in risky situations, the structure would survive. And if it really stored energy, as some scholars suggest, it would be essential that the material did not ignite easily. These are details that fit together like pieces of a puzzle. Each part of the ark fulfills a precise role. Now that we understand the function of wood, the next question is inevitable. Why coat everything with gold? And further, why coat it at all, double internally and externally? This decision completely transforms the physical behavior of the object. In the next topic, we will unveil the most intriguing part of the construction: the hidden power of gold and its function within the Ark of the Covenant. Get ready, because here the mystery really begins to intensify. The legend of the secret hidden atop Mount Sinai. For centuries, researchers and explorers have climbed Mount Sinai in search of answers about the tablets of the law and, above all, about the true origin of the Ark of the Covenant. What few know is that ancient accounts describe an intense glow enveloping the mountaintop during the delivery of the instructions. This seemingly simple detail raises the hypothesis that Moses received highly advanced knowledge, and not only spiritual, but also technical, knowledge that surpassed the understanding of any craftsman of the time. The most intriguing point is that in several texts, Moses not only received commandments, but also meticulous construction specifications. This includes exact measurements, types of materials, and even instructions on internal layers. It's as if someone were handing him a complete technical manual. And when this is compared to accounts from other ancient civilizations, a recurring pattern emerges. A pattern that may indicate an unusual origin, perhaps even extraterrestrial according to some modern theories. But there's a detail that almost no one mentions: the natural electrical phenomena that occur in that region. Modern researchers have discovered that Mount Sinai possesses electromagnetic charges far above normal. This opens up a shocking possibility. What if the delivery of the Ark's instructions involved an extremely rare natural phenomenon? Something that could have been interpreted as divine, or perhaps something that truly was divine but using unusual physical elements. And this is where the video retention increases, because what comes next is even more surprising. Archaeologists have found burn marks on rocks in the region that do not correspond to ordinary fires. They are marks similar to high-intensity electrical discharges, exactly the type of effect one would expect from a manifestation like the one described in ancient texts. This connects, for the first time, real physical phenomena to the construction of the Ark. Considering that Moses received instructions amidst these intense phenomena, the inevitable question arises: was the Ark of the Covenant not only a religious symbol, but also a technological artifact? This hypothesis, although controversial, has gained traction among independent researchers. They argue that the accuracy of the description doesn't align with simple oral tradition. It aligns with targeted engineering, and that changes everything. And before we move on to the next revelation, a warning. What comes next completely challenges what you learned in school. If you haven't liked the video and subscribed to the channel yet, do it now so you don't miss the next chapters of this investigation. Because in the next topic, we're going to analyze the most mysterious material from the Ark, material that still puzzles scientists today, the wood that would not rot, the sacred acacia. The Ark of the Covenant was built with acacia wood, a detail that seems simple, but hides one of the greatest mysteries of antiquity. Acacia is extremely resistant, almost immune to natural decay, and this raises an intriguing question. Why did Moses choose this particular wood? Did he have advanced botanical knowledge, or did someone directly instruct him on this specific material? The choice cannot have been accidental. When we analyze the characteristics of acacia wood, we discover that it is also highly resistant to heat and electrical discharges. This raises an immediate red flag. The chosen wood is perfect for insulating electricity. Curious, isn't it? Even more so considering that in ancient accounts, the Ark emitted light, sound, and vibrations, as if it stored energy. Therefore, the choice of material makes sense. Too much sense, even. Technological sense. Furthermore, virtually all ancient cultures associated acacia with divine, immortal, and protective elements. Egyptians, Hebrews, Persians all attributed special properties to the tree. This may indicate that its use was traditional, but it may also indicate something even deeper, the perception that acacia had characteristics that other woods did not offer, characteristics that could withstand intense energy within the Ark. And here's a crucial detail for its preservation. Modern experiments show that acacia wood possesses internal oils that repel almost all forms of microbial life. It's practically an eternal wood. This reinforces the idea that the Ark was designed to last not decades, but centuries. This aligns with its mythical and practical function and adds even more credibility to the hypothesis of a highly calculated design. But there is an even greater mystery surrounding this wood. In some accounts, the Ark seemed to react to human touch, generating fatal discharges. If it were just ordinary wood, this would be impossible. But if we combine acacia with inner layers of pure gold, something extraordinary is created, a configuration that can store energy, similar to a primitive battery, and this opens doors to bold theories about its actual functioning. Before we move on to the next topic, where we'll reveal why the gold in the Ark wasn't just decorative, but essential to its function, go ahead and leave a like, because what's coming next is simply shocking, and the more you watch this video, the more everything starts to make sense. So stick with me, because the revelation about the gold will blow your mind. The gold that wasn't just decoration. The gold of the Ark of the Covenant has always been treated as a symbol of purity and divinity, but few people understand the real reason behind this choice. Gold is one of the best electrical conductors in existence, with unique properties capable of storing and transmitting energy extremely efficiently. This means that the inner and outer coating of the Ark may have been designed to create a powerful electromagnetic field. And when two layers of gold are separated by insulating wood, something extraordinary happens. This structure, composed of conductive and insulating layers, is incredibly similar to the design of modern energy storage devices, such as capacitors. These components are capable of accumulating intense charges and releasing them abruptly, exactly as many accounts describe the Ark's reaction to human touch. This raises the hypothesis that the object not only possessed spiritual significance, but also physical functionality, and perhaps even dangerous functionality. Ancient accounts tell that the Ark made the earth tremble, emitted light, and instantly killed anyone who approached it improperly. Many interpret this as a metaphor, but what if it's literal? The gold could allow the Ark to accumulate energy from the atmosphere, especially in a desert environment where electrostatic storms are common. Then the Ark could charge itself naturally without any human intervention. And this would explain many of the phenomena attributed to it. Another fascinating point is that gold does not oxidize, deteriorate, or lose its electrical conductivity over time. This would allow the ark to remain functional for centuries, perhaps millennia, without needing repairs or maintenance. It's as if someone knew exactly which materials would allow the artifact to withstand the passage of time. This extreme durability contributed to the ark becoming not only a religious symbol, but an instrument of absolute power. Some experts claim that the gold-acacia combination creates an effect known as a natural circuit. Even simple structures of this type can generate surprising energy when exposed to specific atmospheric conditions. This reinforces the idea that the ark could be much more than we think, a device that channeled and amplified natural phenomena, transforming them into impressive manifestations. The kind of thing that could easily be interpreted as divine. And before we move on to the next topic, which reveals why the ark's lid, called the mercy seat, may be the most powerful piece of all, go ahead and like and subscribe, because what you're about to hear is one of the ark's best-kept secrets, and understanding it will completely change your perception of how this artifact works. The mercy seat, the most enigmatic piece of the ark. The lid of the ark, known as the mercy seat, is much more than a simple covering. Described as being made of solid gold, it featured two cherubim facing each other with wings outstretched over the ark. But there's a detail that many ignore. The description is so precise that it resembles the configuration of an energy collector, similar to what we now call resonant antennas. This opens the door to an unexpected and impressive theory. When two metallic surfaces are positioned parallel to each other, with a controlled opening between them, they can function as poles of an energy system. The golden cherubim, with their slanted wings, could have been positioned to direct the energy accumulated within the ark. This would explain ancient accounts stating that a voice came from between the cherubim, which could be interpreted as vibration, sound, or some kind of amplified electrical discharge, a phenomenon that would easily be seen as divine communication. Another intriguing characteristic is the intense glow that supposedly emanated from this lid. Many texts mention that no one could look directly at it when the ark was active. This is reminiscent of electrostatic discharges or plasma arcs, phenomena that occur when large amounts of energy are released between two metallic surfaces. If the ark truly had this function, then the mercy seat was the center of everything, the point where the energy visibly manifested itself. There are also reports that the lid produced heat, vibration, and even a low continuous sound when the ark was used in rituals. These details are too specific to be merely symbolic. They indicate that something physical was happening there, something involving real, perhaps even dangerous, energy. And if the ark was, in fact, an ancient technological device, the mercy seat functioned as its interface, the part where the invisible became visible. What's most impressive is that, in different civilizations, we find ceremonial objects with parallel metallic surfaces used for channeling energy. This points to a shared knowledge or legacy. And perhaps, just perhaps, the Ark of the Covenant was the most advanced example of this lost technology, the pinnacle of something we are only beginning to understand today, and this makes the mercy seat one of the most important pieces of ancient history. And now, before moving on to topic 7, which explains why the ark seemed to move on its own, as if it had a will of its own, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. What comes next is simply unbelievable, and you won't want to miss it. The mystery of the energy that moved the ark. The Ark of the Covenant was not merely a sacred object. Several scholars believe it functioned as an extremely advanced energy device. Over the centuries, theories have emerged suggesting that the combination of acacia wood, pure gold, and the ark's specific dimensions could generate a type of natural electrical charge. For many researchers, this would explain why touching the ark was fatal for those not authorized. There are ancient records describing people being instantly knocked down upon approaching it, as if an invisible force repelled them. Could it have been technology? Could it have been something spiritual? The fact is that to this day, no one can answer with certainty. Another intriguing hypothesis suggests that the ark functioned as a kind of giant capacitor, accumulating static energy through its materials and geometric shape. Many believe that Moses, upon receiving detailed instructions, was being guided by knowledge that transcended his time. Parts of the Bible describe clouds, thunder, and sparks emanating from the ark, reinforcing the idea of a powerful energy field. This may have been interpreted as a divine manifestation, but what if it was more than that? It's possible that the ark operated on principles that we only partially understand today. The mixture of faith and technology makes the subject even more unbelievable. Modern researchers have attempted to replicate the ark's shape using similar materials, and surprisingly, some experiments have produced real electrical reactions. Even on a reduced scale, replicas created electrostatic fields capable of generating significant shocks. This has reignited the debate. How could an ancient people have accessed such complex knowledge? Was it divine instruction, pure advanced engineering, or something completely different? Each answer generates even more questions, keeping the mystery alive. For many archaeologists, the secret may lie in the gold plating present both inside and out. This type of double construction was not common at the time, raising suspicions that it had an additional function beyond symbolism. Gold is an excellent conductor and could amplify any type of energy generated by the structure. This extreme attention to detail reinforces the idea that nothing on the ark was merely decorative. Each part seemed to have a very clear intention, even if we don't yet fully understand it. Ancient Hebrew texts also recount that the ark was surrounded by a kind of luminous cloud called the Shekinah, which accompanied the people in the desert. People of that time described lights, sounds, and phenomena that today we might associate with electrical energy or even intense magnetic fields. These accounts suggest that the ark emitted constant signals of its activity, something perceptible even at great distances. It was as if it had a life of its own, always maintaining a mystery that no one dared to break. The most curious thing is that, even after centuries of debate, there is no consensus. Religious people claim that the energy was divine. Scientists seek physical explanations, and theorists believe that the ark could be a lost technology. But everyone agrees on one point: the ark was not an ordinary object. There was something about it, whether spiritual, technological, or both, that completely surpasses what we know. And it is precisely this enigma that maintains the world's fascination to this day. The ritual for operating the ark. The Ark of the Covenant could not be touched by just anyone, and this was not merely a religious rule. It was a matter of survival. Ancient documents state that only specific priests, trained from a young age, knew how to approach it safely. They followed extremely precise rituals, as if each movement were part of a secret manual. Even the moment of carrying the ark was carefully calculated. If someone ignored a single detail, the risk was enormous. This reinforces the idea that something far more complex was at work there. The Levites, responsible for transporting the ark, did not touch it directly. They used poles made of the same type of sanctified wood. Interestingly, this avoids direct contact, exactly as we would do today with high-voltage electrified equipment. The description seems strangely modern, almost like a safety protocol. This raised suspicions that, in addition to its sacred character, there was also an advanced understanding of the dangers the structure represented. Was it a coincidence or knowledge far beyond the common for the time? During ceremonies, priests wore specific clothing lined with materials that could reduce electrical conductivity. Some pieces, such as the breastplate and the ephod, were made with interwoven metal threads, creating a kind of primitive shielding. This may have been interpreted as religious symbolism, but the level of detail suggests a practical function. It's impressive to see how similar these elements are to the equipment we use today to handle sensitive energy. The more we study, the more the coincidences seem intentional. Another curious point is the use of sounds, chants, and instruments before approaching the ark. Many believe that these practices serve to create a spiritual atmosphere. But there are those who argue that sound can alter energy fields, reduce accumulated charges, or stabilize vibrations, concepts that modern science recognizes. Could it be that the ancient priests were manipulating energetic phenomena without fully understanding what they were doing? Or perhaps they understood it better than we imagine. The ark also needed to be covered with specific fabrics whenever it was moved. These fabrics were not ordinary. Some descriptions mention thick, highly insulating materials. This may indicate that the purpose was to prevent the release of energy or to protect those nearby. It is clear that the entire process was carried out with extreme care, as if the ark had a delicate and unpredictable operation. The ancients knew that any mistake could cause tragedies. Even with so many rituals, mysteries, and rigid rules, what is most impressive is that no one truly understood the origin of the ark's power. They simply followed instructions, as if they were dealing with something far beyond their comprehension. This combination of faith, respect, and fear created an aura that continues to fascinate the world to this day. The ritual was not just tradition, it was protection, and perhaps without these precautions, the ark could never have been used. Ark as a weapon of war. The Ark of the Covenant was not merely a ceremonial object. Many ancient accounts describe it as being used as a real weapon during battles. Historical texts mention that when the ark was carried ahead of the army, unusual phenomena occurred. Enemies fled in terror, hills crumbled, and storms arose out of nowhere. For some scholars, these descriptions may have been religious metaphors, but others believe that the ark emitted some kind of energy capable of influencing the environment, something powerful enough to alter the course of entire wars. One of the most famous examples is the fall of the walls of Jericho. According to the account, after a specific ritual that lasted 7 days, the walls simply crumbled before the people. Many believe this was a miracle. Others argue that sound vibrations, combined with the energy emanating from the ark, could have caused the structural collapse. The fact is that the event remains shrouded in mystery, and the more we seek explanations, the more we realize that there is something profoundly intriguing about this story. In other battles, there are records of enemy soldiers fainting, becoming temporarily blind, or retreating in panic upon seeing the ark in the distance. Some texts describe an intense light emanating from it, as well as a sound similar to thunder. This raises the question, could the ark have emitted radiation, heat, or some kind of electrical discharge? Modern theories suggest yes, especially considering its materials and composition. Such technology would have been devastating on an ancient battlefield. Furthermore, the way the ark was transported, always lifted on poles, suggests that direct contact could be dangerous. In combat, this extreme care made the ark not only a symbol of divine power, but an element capable of completely changing the morale of the troops. For the enemy, facing an army carrying such a mysterious and feared object was terrifying. The psychological impact alone would be enough to influence the outcome of war. Interestingly, the ark was never positioned randomly. Accounts show that there were specific places where it was meant to be, almost as if they were seeking energetic alignments. This raises the possibility that there was hidden knowledge about how to enhance its effect. Perhaps the priests understood something that was never explicitly recorded. This detail in itself makes everything even more enigmatic. In the end, what becomes clear is that the ark had a much greater role than that of a religious symbol. It seemed to influence surrounding phenomena, impact battles, and even determine the fate of entire nations. It was more than a physical weapon. It was a manifestation of absolute power, incomprehensible and feared by all. And precisely for this reason, it remains shrouded in mysteries that continue to fascinate the world. The disappearance of the ark, accident or strategy. Few stories are as intriguing as the disappearance of the Ark of the Covenant. At a certain point, it simply ceases to be mentioned in official records. Nothing indicates destruction, theft, or loss. It simply vanishes from the narrative as if it had evaporated. This sudden disappearance opened the door to various theories. Some claim that it was hidden by the priests to prevent it from falling into the wrong hands. Others suggest that the ark became too unstable to continue being used. Whatever the truth, the total disappearance leaves more questions than answers. There is also the hypothesis that the ark was deliberately removed from Jerusalem before an enemy invasion. The city was attacked several times, and many believe that the priests maintained secret plans to evacuate the ark in case of emergency. This would explain why, despite the destruction of the temple, the most valuable object was never found. If this actually occurred, it means that there was a highly organized and discreet network dedicated to protecting the artifact at all costs. Another compelling theory claims that the Ark was buried in some strategic location to prevent access to its power. There were priests who knew rituals and location codes that were never written down. Thus, when these leaders died, the secret died with them. Such an extreme strategy would only make sense if the Ark represented a real danger. And considering everything that has already been said about its powers, this wouldn't be hard to believe. Some scholars even suggest that the Ark may have been smuggled to another country, perhaps Ethiopia, Egypt, or even more distant regions. There are temples that claim to still hold the artifact today, but have never allowed scientific verification. This further fuels speculation. Is the Ark really hidden somewhere remote? Or are these accounts merely attempts to keep traditions alive? Until there is direct access, everything remains in the realm of mystery. Some argue that the Ark never disappeared. It was merely deactivated. According to this line of thought, its energy may have become too unstable or dangerous, forcing the priests to seal it permanently. If this is true, imagine what it would mean to rediscover it today, an artifact with uncontrollable power, dormant for millennia, waiting to be discovered again. This idea frightens scientists and fascinates theorists at the same time. What's most impressive is that, to this day, no archaeologist has been able to present concrete evidence about its final destination. Each clue leads to another. Each theory opens a new line of investigation. And perhaps that is the Ark's greatest mystery, its ability to completely disappear from history without leaving a trace. Such a powerful artifact doesn't vanish by accident. If it disappeared, it was for a reason, and perhaps the world isn't yet ready to discover what that reason is. The Ark and its supposedly lost technology. Some modern researchers believe that the Ark of the Covenant may have been built using technological knowledge completely lost over the centuries. This idea arises from the fact that many details of its construction follow principles found only in advanced devices. For example, the exact combination of acacia wood and gold would only make sense if there were a functional purpose, not just a symbolic one. This type of configuration is extremely rare in ancient objects and raises suspicions that something far beyond human comprehension was involved in its design. Furthermore, the presence of cherubs with specifically positioned wings may have some as yet unknown geometric or energetic function. Some scholars suggest that the sculptures could function as primitive antennas, points of reception or dispersion of some type of energy. This aligns with reports of intense light and strange sounds emanating from the Ark. It's as if its structure was designed to interact with forces we don't yet understand, blending mysticism and science in an impressive way. What is most intriguing is that many ancient texts describe the Ark not just as an object, but as something alive that reacted, responded, and even manifested itself before people. This leads some theorists to speculate that the Ark may have housed some kind of internal mechanism, perhaps an energy core or a component that was lost or removed before its disappearance. The fact that the Bible never mentions internal details reinforces the possibility that there was something so secret that it could not be recorded. There are also fascinating parallels with other ancient cultures. Some Egyptian, Mesopotamian, and Persian artifacts show the use of similar materials and structures, reminiscent of primitive electrical devices such as the famous Baghdad battery. These patterns suggest that ancient civilizations may have shared pieces of the same forgotten knowledge. If this is true, the Ark of the Covenant may have been the pinnacle of this lost technology, an artifact that combined advanced engineering with spiritual significance. Other researchers claim that the Ark could have been a transmitter, a receiver, or even an amplifier of atmospheric energy, operating on principles similar to those studied by Nikola Tesla thousands of years later. This hypothesis explains reports of unusual lights, sounds, and phenomena. If true, it means that humanity once had access to extremely advanced technology in the past, and simply lost it. This completely changes how we understand our own history. The combination of spirituality, power, and technology makes the Ark one of the most fascinating artifacts ever described, and perhaps it is precisely this secret that humanity has not yet been able to decipher. An object that united physical and metaphysical dimensions, that operated with laws we still do not understand. The most impressive thing is that even after thousands of years, the Ark continues to evoke the feeling that we are facing something that transcends all the limits of history and science. What if the Ark is found today? Imagine for a moment that the Ark of the Covenant is found tomorrow. The impact would be indescribable. Governments, scientists, archaeologists, and religious leaders from all over the world would compete for access to the artifact. This race alone would generate international conflicts, conspiracy theories, and unprecedented debates. Such a powerful object, shrouded in so many mysteries, simply could not be treated as an ordinary archaeological find. It would be considered the discovery of the century, perhaps of the millennium, and would completely change our view of history. If the Ark truly possesses energetic properties, as many believe, its reactivation could create unpredictable phenomena. Some scientists suggest that even manipulating it with modern instruments could pose immense risks. Others believe that simply opening it could release energy accumulated over millennia. Imagine the global attention focused on an artifact capable of emitting its own light, generating heat, or creating electromagnetic phenomena. It would be impossible to hide something of that magnitude. In the religious realm, finding the Ark would signify definitive confirmation of one of humanity's most sacred relics. For billions of people, it would be material proof of ancient stories, completely changing modern spirituality. Churches, synagogues, and scholars would debate its purpose, its function, and its significance for the future. The entire world would be divided between faith, science, and geopolitics, all at the same time. Another fascinating possibility is that, upon being found, the Ark could reveal internal technologies never described in ancient texts. This could revolutionize fields such as engineering, physics, and energy. Imagine discovering that ancient peoples mastered principles that we are only beginning to explore today. It would be a giant leap for humanity, but also an enormous risk if it falls into the wrong hands. The Ark could be seen as a source of unimaginable power. On the other hand, some believe that finding the Ark could trigger spiritual, prophetic, or even catastrophic events. Some ancient texts claim that tampering with it without divine permission is deadly. Others say it will only be revealed when the world